Okay, so one of the questions students have is how can I get my feedback when I've turned in a paper through TurnItIn? So from the class page, there are two different ways that you can access a paper once you've turned it in. One is to go back to the assignment, so you can do it through the modules here, or you can go to assignments. And I always recommend to sort them by type, not by date. So then you can see it right here, paper 2E, which is where it was submitted. And once you scroll past all the guidelines in the rubric, you're going to go back to the same window where you turned it in and open that. And then you can see the originality percentage here, and you want that number to be below 30. You can see what grade you were given, and then this is your original paper. So you want to open up the grade, and that'll pop up in this feedback studio. Which will hopefully load eventually. Okay, so the first thing you want to make sure is here's your score. You want to make sure here in the layers that you can see the grading, the similarity, and the E-rater. If any of these are turned off, it looks like there were no comments on the paper and all you can see is the original. So you want to turn all these things back on. If you click on this, it'll give you any feedback from the professor. So that's right there. If you click on the rubric, it will give you the full rubric, and it'll mark, see how it's highlighted, the squares where your grade was earned. You can scroll here. If you received a mark in an area that is scrolled, you can scroll and take a look at it. This is great feedback because sometimes when you go to look at the rubric, it'll show you exactly where things were marked. You also might have little numbers here, and that'll take you to a place in your paper where something was marked up and tied specifically to something on the rubric. So we're going to go ahead and close the rubric. This right here is your originality, and there's a ton of videos on YouTube that tell you how to look at your originality and what it means. If you scroll through, it'll show you where the original source came from, what the original wording is compared to what you said, things like that. You can go ahead and just click through and it'll take you through each one. As you see, originality, it gives you a different color for each source. Just clicking on everything. It gives you kind of the guidelines. The ETS system it will track every error that you made. So you can see where there's missing commas, errors with sentence capitalization, things like that. The ETS system is always purple. If you click on the purple thing, it will give you actual feedback. The article errors is something that the ETS system loves to mark up incorrectly. The ETS system is only accurate 75% of the time. I leave the marks in so that you as the student can make that decision. Do I need to correct this or can I ignore it? The ETS system also will miss 25% of your errors. So even if your paper looks flawless on the ETS system, when you run it through the sandbox, I still may find errors that you made. So on the ETS system, when you go to submit your next paper, I will expect you to have cleaned up part of it, but if you occasionally make the wrong call, it's not going to count against you severely if you occasionally make the wrong call. For professor marks, they're usually in a different color. Looking for page 4. me turn them on. So for professor marks, I might put in actual text. I might put in a whole comment here. So this is feedback that I've given you. I might have additional comments, and I might connect it to the actual rubric. So as you can see for this one, I highlighted it for the student, and then I also made a comment, and it also, this little bubble here shows that it was connected to the rubric, and that was that little number 1 that we saw. Sometimes I will cross things out and tell you what to change up above. You need to change 100% of the marks I made, but I only mark things once because I want you to learn to make the correction, not correct only what you see the professor marking. So having looked at this, you then have to go through the rest of your paper, starting from the beginning, and make sure that you don't have this error repeated in any other spaces. I think I've covered everything. Okay.
Word count?
Oh, word count, thank you. The other thing you can do if you want to check your word count is open that little bubble. This is the word count on this paper, so it's 6,000 words. Do not mix up the word count with the character count. The character count is how many letters you have, and remember the paper count is 2,500 or more for the research paper. So we're going to go ahead and we will close that window. And I told you there was one other way that you can look at your marks in TurnItIn. So the other way is to go to grades. And again, you want to sort them by assignment group usually, because that's the easiest way to find things. They'll always be in the same order. And if we jump down to paper 2E here and open it, now if we click here, what we get is the actual paper draft. And here it looks like I didn't make any comments. But then we have this little percentage here. If you click on the similarity score, you can see it'll open the exact same TurnItIn window with all the feedback that I had already given. And that's how you access your grade from Canvas to get to the Feedback Studio on TurnItIn.